Hey guys, it's Zeon, the realest motherfucker in the Dragon Ball community, and I am back with another Dragon Ball Super review. We are now on episode 19, and the plot is the first 15 minutes of Resurrection F. Yeah, we see Frieza in Hell, Sorbet talks about wanting to resurrect Frieza, we see Goku and Vegeta training with Whis, Sorbet uses the Peel-Off game to collect the Dragon Balls, they wish Frieza back, they put him in the low rejuvenation chamber, boom, Frieza back. Now this episode's been really divisive among fans. A lot of people are upset that this is just retelling, pretty much scene for scene, line for line, what we already saw in Resurrection F, making this entire episode pointless, and marking the episode down negatively based solely on this, which I think is completely unfair. Much like episode 3 of Super, just because the episode is regurgitating information and scenes that we already saw in the movies, does not inherently make them bad. I said this before, I'll say it again. Dragon Ball Super needs to kind of exist in a bubble. It needs to not acknowledge the movies. It needs to stand as adaptations of them, but also stand on its own merits. It does not matter if an episode is blatantly remaking parts from the movie. What matters is how well that content stands up on its own. It's like bitching that an anime series is adapting too close to the manga. I already read the manga, I wish the anime would take more liberties with the story, said nobody ever. People really need to keep in mind these stories are adapting the movies for a series. So when we have segments, especially ones that are really exposition heavy, kind of like episode 3 of Super, and now episode 19, there isn't a whole lot of wiggle room. You can throw in padding, you can maybe add in some extra characters, switch around the order of scenes, but you can't really deviate too far. And if you've never seen the movies, then these episodes still have a lot of value. So them directly adapting scenes from the movie is not a negative, inherently. Now, not everything in this episode is a complete copy-paste from the film. There are little bits here and there that do add a little bit, at least for me. The first being Piccolo babysitting Pan. Now, we saw this in the movie, it's extended a bit. Instead of Piccolo just being all grumpy, kind of rocking the cradle with his foot, here he eventually stands up, starts making silly faces and playing peekaboo with her. It's absolutely adorable! And then Gohan shows up, sorry we're late. And then Piccolo smiles at him and goes, don't you mean early? And it shows that Piccolo has a much softer side. It also shows that maybe the fandom was right and that maybe Piccolo is a better dad than Goku. It was a fantastic scene, showed a new side to Piccolo, and one that wasn't really out of character, and it was one that I thought was very well executed. Another thing this episode does really well is fixing a plot hole from the movie. When they summon Shenlong in Resurrection F, Shenlong only grants 2 wishes. For those that know their Dragon Ball lore, Shenlong is supposed to be able to grant 3 wishes, but if one takes up a lot of energy, like wishing a shit ton of people back, then it knocks it down to 2 wishes. Which is why in the series we only ever see him grant 2 wishes. So it's really nice that Super took time to fix this plot hole, and acknowledge the mistakes of its source material. And that's all the positives I really have to say about this. On to the negatives! The animation sucks. Big surprise. It was sloppy, it was off-model, whatever, who cares. On to the real fucking problems. First off, what the fuck is this series canon to? Well, the obvious answer would be, well, it's canon to the manga. Well, there are filler characters in the series, so it can't be canon to the manga. Well, then the obvious answer is it's either in the same continuity as Dragon Ball Z or Kai. Well, this episode pretty much blows this fucking theory out of the goddamn water. Because we see Frieza in Hell in Dragon Ball Super, and it's the same Hell that's depicted in Resurrection F, which is completely different from the Hell that's depicted in Dragon Ball Z and in Dragon Ball Kai. It would have been nice if the writers took some sort of liberties with this, and instead of having the Hell from the movie, had the Hell from the anime. So that way it fits into some kind of continuity. Because right now, Dragon Ball Super is just kind of sitting in its own little nebulous territory of, it doesn't really fit in anywhere. At this point, it's about as canon as one of the movies. Like, the older movies, pre-Battle of Gods. My next issue also has to do with continuity. We see a flashback of Frieza blowing up what seems to be Planet Vegeta. There's soldiers surrounding it, it's purple, and when it explodes, Frieza even says, look at the fireworks, which is the same thing he says when he blew up Planet Vegeta. But when he's doing it, Bardock is nowhere to be seen. Now the obvious answer to this would be, well, Dragon Ball Minus is the official canon now. So Bardock wouldn't have been there. The problem being is that Bardock was shown in the original manga. Frieza recognizes Goku having similarities to Bardock and Bardock confronting him as he did in the TV special. Now I can headcanon my way around it and say that Bardock totally switched out his armor, got fucked up by Frieza soldiers, and then confronted Frieza in space. And then Frieza blew up the planet to unify the continuity there, and maybe Frieza just blowing up another planet that isn't Vegeta. Why? Frieza is a planet-conquering entrepreneur. He wipes out the life on planets and then sells them. Blowing up planets serves him no purpose. Frieza isn't just the type of character to just randomly blow up a fucking planet. Right out the gate, 2 things that are really fucking this show up for me. The next thing that had me kind of scratching my head was, so we're maybe talking about like if they bring back Frieza, they can rule 70% of the universe. Really? 70%? That's kind of a lot of the universe. And I like how it's, only 70%. Like, are they just gonna like put like a border around the North Galaxy, like, do not fuck with this, there are Saiyans here, they will fucking kill us? Is that other 5% like where New Namek is located, like, don't fuck with this either? Not really a terrible line that completely breaks the episode, but just a really odd one that made me raise an eyebrow. Another thing that really pissed me off was the flashback to Trunks killing Frieza. They used goddamn Kai footage. Again! And the worst part is, this flashback was split between 2 different animators, because the scene was split between 2 different episodes. So the first half of the flashback is Nakasuru, and the second half of the flashback is Ibasawa, one of the best animators, juxtaposed with one of the shittiest ones. So that in itself is jarring, and the fact that they're putting old footage with new footage is also fucking jarring. Why couldn't they just fucking reanimate this? They had no problem reanimating Frieza blowing up goddamn Namek. If they really needed to reuse footage, you already reanimated it for the movie! Take that 10-second clip from the movie! Put it in the fucking show! Done! Or for some reason you can't use movie footage for like some sort of weird theatrical copyright rules? Instead of reanimating the Frieza thing, reuse the episode of Bardock footage for Frieza blowing up Vegeta! That way it's new animation juxtaposed with new animation, and then reanimate the Trunks stuff! Or, not be cheap-ass fuckwads! Dragon Ball Z is one of the biggest, most popular goddamn franchises in Japan. There is no excuse to cut corner on budgets for it. Just reanimate the scene, you lazy fucks. Another issue I had was the 3 wishes. Them stating, yeah, the Dragon grants 3 wishes, it's a good thing. It is. It fixes a plot hole. The problem is, right afterwards, Pilaf goes, what? You granted 3 wishes now? Didn't you use the Dragon Balls to turn into kids? Is that not how it works in Dragon Ball Super? Did they have a different backstory? I don't know, because they haven't fucking explained it. If they didn't use the Dragon Ball to turn to kids, why the fuck are the kids? If they did use the Dragon Balls, why the fuck did they not know about the 3 wishes? Why didn't they have 3 wishes at their disposal when they summoned Shenlong to turn into kids if they did use the Dragon Balls to turn into kids? The only reasonable explanation would be that they used the Dragon Balls before then they altered them. But that was over 12 goddamn years ago, so that's clearly not the case. So congratulations Dragon Ball Super! In a single scene, you fixed one plot hole and then made another one, or at very least made another one more apparent. Beyond that, I only have a few minor gripes. One, whenever they first wish back to Frieza Chunks, they don't reform and try to coalesce back into Frieza before falling apart. Not really a problem, not a deal breaker in any sense of the word. That's a bit disappointing because that was a really unsettling scene, at least by Dragon Ball standards, and I definitely missed it in the TV version. But then again, Dragon Ball Super is going for a much lighter tone and shying away from darker elements, so I'm not too surprised. And the other minor gripe I had was Ginyu the Frog. Yeah, I know a lot of people are excited that Ginyu's back. He's probably going to be playing some sort of crazy role in this arc. I've heard some rumors. I think it's dumb. The idea that Ginyu the Frog is still alive at all is stupid as hell. The fact that he hasn't been eaten by something or died of old age, or the fact that he was still wished back by the Dragon Balls after Boo blew up the planet, even though he should technically still be evil. I mean, him being alive is dumb on multiple levels. What's even dumber though, is Ginyu just happening to be where Frieza was resurrected when he got resurrected. All the places he could have been in the world, there's not a single Z fighter in sight, but Ginyu the Frog just happens to be right there. How convenient! It's dumb, contrived bullshit for the sake of bringing back a classic character. In an arc where it would be the most relevant for him to come back because, oh look, Frieza! Well, Ginyu's still kind of alive. Might as well bring him back too. It was dumb, and anyone who supports it, I wholly disagree with you. So needless to say, this episode really disappointed the fuck out of me. The things that were added did more harm than good. The one plot hole it fixed highlighted another one. And overall this episode was an utter failure. For those of you who missed the angry or ranty Zeon, hope you enjoyed this. For those of you who enjoyed watching me actually enjoy this series, blame Toei. Hopefully the next episode will be better. Until then, Zeon, out.